Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you are. Hello. Thank you for watching my videos. It's Mike. It's April 3rd, 2011. And here's some of the stories that caught my eye recently. The first one, of course, is British Petroleum and the United States government and the Gulf of Mexico. Evidently, BP will be allowed to start drilling again in the Gulf of Mexico. Linked below. BP will resume drilling as early as July. Evidently this is 20 existing oil wells they've already got out there, so they're allowed to start, 10 existing wells, they're allowed to start drilling into those again, but there will be no new exploration. BP has basically agreed that the government can have 24-hour access to oversee what they're doing and whether they're doing it well. Lovely. Over in Japan, a leak of another sort. The nuclear engineers at the Fukushima plant have discovered a rather large crack. I don't know how they didn't notice this. It's a 8-inch wide crack running through the bottom of one of their containment areas, which currently is full of radioactive water, highly radioactive water, which is then dumping into the sea. No doubt it's also leaching into the ground soil and into the water supply for the neighboring farms. We'll just pretend it's not really happening. Now, they tried to seal it yesterday with using concrete, trying to pump concrete directly into it, but as anyone who's ever gone down to Canary Wharf when they're building down there, you generally have to get the water out first before you can put the concrete in. The concrete generally doesn't seem to settle very well. So they've resorted to Plan B. Well, I don't know what letter we're up to now. Plan L. Plan M. All the problems over there. Yes, now they've taken 3 garbage bags full of shredded newspaper, mixed... I know. It's absolutely ludicrous. Shredded newspaper, mixed in with some polymers that they normally use in diapers and things to soak up the water, and some other stuff in there in the attempt to get it to sort of clog up the hole a bit, in which case then they can start trying to pump some more cement down there and see if that'll work. Concrete. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, so sawdust, 3 garbage bags of shredded newspaper, and a polymer that can expand to 50 times its normal size when combined with water. So basically it's going to balloon up. Just like when, you know, your little kid tosses an old diaper down the toilet and watches how it completely blocks up. Anyway, also over now in the UK, Oddbins goes into administration, putting 400 jobs at risk. Struggling wine retailer Oddbins becomes victim of triple threat of credit crunch, supermarkets, and tax collectors. Evidently, they owe an insane amount of money to the Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. £8 million in taxes and duties. So, yeah, Oddbins is going into administration, which is like, it's not full-out bankruptcy, it's trying to restructure that you get in the States. Also going into administration this weekend, the Daily Sport. Now, this is a real trash newspaper, trust me folks. Basically, it's a newspaper full of very scantily clad or semi-naked women doing things, effectively. And you get upskirt shots and all kinds of weird things. But anyway, you would think this paper would continue to sell to the young men of Britain, regardless of the economic climate. Evidently not. Apparently they had a huge decline in readership at the end of the year, and it hasn't picked up much since then. And now they have to go and find some money. In September they deferred payment of $50,000 a month for 6 months to the Royal Bank of Scotland, but time's run out. It's been 6 months now, and yeah. So if they're not even making $50,000 a month in profit, my word, extra profit. Yeah, it's a bad sign. Also in Britain, but everywhere else, they're just not reporting as much. Consumers under pressure, mortgage defaults rise, and high street profits fall. A lot of the large retailers in the UK came out last week saying that they're announcing their expected quarterly profits would be declining quite a bit. Dixon's, which is a retailer primarily of electronics but also other consumer goods, basically announced that their sales were down 11% over the last year. for the 11 weeks over from the previous last year. And they don't expect consumer purchasing to really increase, and mainly because of the austerity measures and the fact that a lot of people are going to be made redundant in the public sector. A lot of people are not rushing out to buy high-definition televisions and so forth. So Dixon's is in trouble. But also Laura Ashley, Mothercare, these are pretty mainstream kind of things. Argos, a few weeks back, also said that their sales were declining remarkably. Supermarket sales were also declining. I read in one of the articles, I'm not sure if it's this one, but Sainsbury's was remarking that their consumer spending patterns had changed dramatically, and to expect profit warning. Now, Liam Halligan in the Daily Telegraph has a little article on the U.S. recovery is little more than an economic sugar rush. Finally, someone's noticed that the only reason the U.S. economy is being propped up is all of the quantitative easing, or quantitative easing, being pumped into the system by the Federal Reserve, and the fact that the Fed has been buying a lot of treasuries, and currently somewhere around about, where is it? 3/4 of the way through the article, talks about the fact that America is shouldering declared federal liabilities of $9.1 trillion. It is the world's largest debtor. Things can only get worse. However, there's always hope. Rings eternal, I hear. Honda in the UK, but also in other plants around the world, they're just not publicizing it the same. Honda considers suspending UK production after Japanese crisis. Now, what does the fact that the earthquake and tsunami has happened in Japan got to do with the UK? Well, a lot of the really high-tech stuff that goes into cars, like like sat-navs and computers and things like that, are actually manufactured in Japan and distributed around the world. Even though the components come from all over the world, you know, Japan and Taiwan and wherever, China, they are physically manufactured in Japan and then shipped out to all the other places. So Honda, Toyota, and a couple of other manufacturers are going to be seeing the same thing happening around the world. So Nissan as well. Not going well. So usually they have a supply of 6 weeks worth of stuff. It's been roughly almost 4 weeks since the tragedy in Japan, and so yeah, in a couple more weeks they're going to start running out of parts, and they're going to have to shut down production. What can they do? China. Inflation in China is running at around 5%. Article linked from the Financial Times, linked below, as of all the other articles I've spoken of. Unilever bows to Beijing pressure. Now, Unilever, which is a UK-Dutch conglomerate, sells all kinds of stuff. You wouldn't believe what you buy from Unilever. They had announced a price rise for April 1st, and no, it wasn't an April Fool's joke. However, the Chinese government asked them, requested from the National Development and Reform Commission, that they hold off on the price rises. Other major manufacturers or retail distributors in China also received similar warnings. So we have the beginning of price controls in China. That never goes down well. That never works. And so, on a lighter note, because the UK is going to be going through a very serious austerity measure, I've linked below a hot drink cup. Basically, it's a mug, it's white, it's got a hot drink, fragile, handled with care, this way up. Contents may vary in color. They have a similar pattern for other things. T-shirts. You can buy a human being t-shirt, and it is also 100% organic, so forth. And a organic shopping bag. Same sort of thing. So for those people that want to look like they are truly, truly austere, you can purchase these items, and everyone will know you are doing your bit to help the UK. Unfortunately, this is a UK company. You can't get this outside of UK. Actually, no, you can get it in Germany, and also some, I think it was in Holland, was the other, was it Denmark? Stockists. Yeah, so a couple places in the UK, Germany, and Denmark, yes. Okay, now, Friday was April Fool's Day, and of course there were all kinds of things going on. So, in an effort to make up for the fact that it was such a crap week for news, I'm going to present my little selection of the various April Fool's jokes out there, hopefully to give you a bit of a laugh. But before I do that, because some people will turn away at this point, I'm also going to include a link. The link will be at the end of the list, but it will be there. to a Canadian singer, a name of Angelica Genia. Genia? Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, Angelica, if I'm misspelling your mispronouncing your name. Romanian lady who came to Canada, emigrated with her family when she was reasonably in her teenage years, but has released an absolutely remarkable album, and she sent me a link, and I listened to the song she sent, as I often do, and this one actually brought me to tears, so yeah. It's not your pop stuff, it's kind of a pop classical mix, and of course she's from Romania, so there's a bit of an accent there, but remarkable singing. The range is truly remarkable. And she's Canadian, so why not? Let's promote Canadian artists. Getting back to the list. Okay, now the funniest one was from Ireland, which I loved. Child-free flights from October 2011. Ryanair put out a press release saying that they're going to have child-free flights because people get really ticked off with other people's kids running around in the airplane. And if you've ever traveled with kids, you'll know exactly what they're talking about. For my other friends out there, Meow Me Now, which is a Google app, which links into your Google mobile, and you can, or Android or iOS mobile, and it will locate the nearest kittens. I thought it was ridiculous. Absolutely fantastic. Funny or Die had they dedicated almost their entire site to Rebecca Black on Friday, and it was funny as heck. And there's one that I've linked, a video I've linked down below, Friday lyrics analyzed with Rebecca Black. And partway through she's discussing one of the lyrics in there, and she's basically saying this is a metaphor for the economic crisis we are currently going through, and etc., etc. And it just had me laughing all the way through it. Toshiba came out with their announcement, the 3D monocle. Yes, basically you put it on one eye and you close the other one, you can see in 3D. That was a good one. Guys at the office thought that might actually be real. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Another one here that I've linked is from ZDNet in Australia, Ziff Davis Publishing. Basically, and they love this one at the office for some odd reason. A screenless BlackBerry. Basically, it would buzz Morse code when you press the buttons. You could hook it up to a projector for those who really wanted to see their emails. Designed for... Anyway. Google had a number of different gags going. Comic Sans for Everyone, which I've linked down below. It installs Comic Sans, the font, and basically turns every page you're looking at, no matter where it comes from, to use the Comic Sans font, which meant reading the Financial Times was actually kind of interesting and humorous. Sad that. A couple of other Google apps. Angry Nerds, a clickable game you can play. You can basically toss little nerds at bugs and blow the bugs up. Always good for software. Google also had another one, a video which was floating around called Auto-Completer. They've got a job posting for a new auto-completer, and if you watch the video you will just probably pee yourself laughing. It basically, the premise is that whenever you're typing away, there's some guy at Google typing away, providing all the list of possible matches. The auto-completer. And so they interview Michael, the current auto-completer. Yes, and he says at the end, anyone can join Google. They don't need to be a computer scientist. They just need to type really fast and be psychic. Gmail, Google Mail, had Gmail Motion, where you could open emails by making motions in front of your webcam. Absolutely ridiculous. Google Docs had a similar thing. It was really funny how you do a flowchart. And I linked below Google I/O, which is an upcoming conference on the future developments. But their sessions page right now lists sessions from the from the late 90s. Building a scalable server farm with Legos, and imagining the year 2065. Computers in your pocket, talking maps that give directions, and self-driving cars. And there's a couple other ones that are quite funny if you are a geek like me. One was the introducing Java, the write once, run anywhere runtime. Learn how to program the web with large monolithic components that require a huge runtime, redistributable, run code in the web on huge servers. Very true. AdWords had something on their blog. You could now do ad blocks like the old ones, and you get such ones as the scratch off or the get up and dance you've won. Click here for whatever you've won. And of course, true geeks go to XKCD. Well, XKCD went 3D on Friday. It's quite funny. You move your mouse around and the whole thing shifts 3D, like kind of goofy. And that was it. And then at the end, I'm going to give you a link to a lovely little game called Entanglement. If you have an HTML5 compatible browser, you can play this game. It's really quite an interesting little challenging game. But anyway, peace, love, understanding, think about things. It's good to have a laugh occasionally. Bye.